Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and this will be volume 3 of the Hot Toys photography commentary series. And we'll start off with the Hot Toys 1989 DX Batman. He's got a stock cape on here. This is before I ever got a custom cape for this figure, and at a time when he was still able to pull off poses. Now he's basically a statue, the rubberized suit, the body underneath. He just really won't lift his arms up anymore or bend his legs. Just over time, he's just lost the ability to do it, I guess. It's very strange, but back when I did these pictures many years ago, he still had some posability in him, and the cape worked well. I think there was a subtle wire running through the cape. It's been a while since I've even used it, because I've had custom capes since then that have much improved the piece. But here we are just going for, I think he's just turning. I don't think he's in the middle of a fight here. It's been a long time since I took the picture, and I was quite surprised when I found it in my folders. I thought, oh, wow, I need to, check out this one and stick it in the video and see what you guys think. But I like the kind of smoke effect and the light shining up through the floorboards. However likely it would be that there would be a light source coming up through the floorboards there. I just thought that effect looked really cool. And obviously the cape's in motion, he's in motion, so he's perhaps turning there, and the cape's sort of flapping around him as he turns. But it's a cool shot. I love the cathedral in the background. That was the movie paused. I think this is the moment where the guy is sort of back flipping towards Batman. That's the shot, and I paused it and I put the figure in front of where the guy is doing his flips. So he is still there, but Batman's blocking the view of him. So that is where the background's from. It's just a paused DVD at the time, I guess. Yeah, back then it would have been a DVD, not even a Blu-ray. So these pictures are about seven years old, I think. But yeah, there it is, the 1989 Batman. Probably see a couple more of him as we go along in this video. Hot Toys Christopher Reeve, Superman 1/6 scale figure waving hello to a astronaut in space. Cool picture. It always made me laugh, just the moment here. This was a very random picture. I just found the image on Google, instantly thought, oh, that'd be funny, get Superman to wave hello to him. So put the image on a memory stick, plugged it into the TV, and got the Hot Toys figure on a clear rod base, just like a transparent rod base, a stand with a waist clasp around him, and then just used the smudging tool on GIMP, which is the free picture editor, or it's like a version of Photoshop that's, I guess, not as advanced. It's free and it works, so that's what I use. GIMP, GIMP. And yeah, just smudge away the clear rod base using the earth that you can see below Superman there. Just kind of smudge the earth over the top of the clear rod base to get rid of it. There is probably a much more professional way and quicker way to do it, but that's the way I taught myself to do it. So I got the results I wanted in the end. I just probably did everything the hard way. I have a feeling that's the way I was doing it, but got the results. This is a cool picture. It always makes me laugh. Hello, fellow space traveler. But there's no sound in space, so I guess he's just waving. But yeah, there he is, waving hello to a space friend. The Hot Toys T1000 1/6 scale figure. This was an incredible piece, man. It came with so much stuff. You really needed two of them. You could have one. Well, gosh, you could have had four of them and still needed more, because you could. It came with two heads. You could have this look here with the split open head, just a clean, regular, normal Robert Patrick T1000 head sculpt. Then there was other versions where you could have the donut head, where he had a hole blown in his face near the end of the movie. And I forget, then technically there was a Sarah Connor that was actually him in disguise. So I mean, there was so many variations of looks you could put together with this piece, and if you had enough parts, you could really just get every look from the film. It was amazing. I did obviously own it for a long time. After a good few years, did start to get a little bit bored of the piece, like an idiot. Sold it. Do kind of regret it, but I don't miss it, I'll be honest with you. I did have it for a long time. I took a lot of pictures, still got them all. Got about as much out of it as I could. Saying that, now where we are at now, and different things that I've learned and new things I could try out, who knows. But it was a fantastic figure. Entebbe made this in 1/4 scale, but I don't think you were able to achieve half the looks that you could with the Hot Toys version. They just really knocked this out of the park. They were hungry back then. When they made this, they had something to prove, and they proved it. They really brought 100% passion with this piece. I mean, this is just one picture, but just look at his eyes. I mean, that's Robert Patrick as the T-1000 in the movie. I mean, it looks incredible. That's an early picture back when I was still trying to get to grips with things. I mean, I think he's lit good, but the background, there's a weird distortion happening with like the walls. But then again, because his head is joining back together again, it kind of could work if depending on how you read into it. Like the world is distorted because he's coming back together again. But yeah, just an amazing figure from Hot Toys. An amazing piece. I love the motorcycle looks you could have with the helmet, the different jacket, the sunglasses. Oh man, it looked badass. In fact, I wish I had have included one of those pictures in this one, but I guess I'll do that in volume 4. An amazing figure. I better move on because I'm just gushing over this piece. It really was amazing. Magnets under the t-shirt on his chest so that you could stick those impact, where the bullets hit him. Wow. And the interchangeable arms, everything, man. Oh, the finger, the long pointy finger, like when he stabbed Sarah at the end. This figure came with so much cool stuff. Awesome. 11 out of 10 for that one. I never did review it because that was back when I just did these pictures, but I wish I could, yeah, sick piece. Anyway, guys, better move on. Here is the NECA Ultimate Evil Dead 2 Ash figure, or at least one of the versions. There's quite a few versions of this, I guess, now by NECA. I do get a bit confused, but this was the the Deadite Ash, I guess you call it, or the maybe Evil Ash. No, not Evil Ash, or Deadite Ash, or whatever it's called. It's an awesome little figure, and I love this picture just with the cabin in the background, the kind of grainy effect that it has. Just a cool one I wanted to chuck into this video because you won't see too much Evil Dead stuff in the upcoming. I love the figures, but I just haven't gone to town on photography with them because I don't do so much of the photography these days. It's all about, trying to get the reviews done and trying to get you guys all the information you need about the figure so that you can decide whether you want to purchase it or not. But I do miss just solely being able to concentrate on photography because it was so satisfying to do. But this was quite a recent picture. Back when I was using the Nokia, what was it? I forget now the model number, but anyway, before I had this Samsung Galaxy S8, which I use for everything now, I had a Nokia that had a really high pixel count. It was really good and great little camera on that thing. But I like this picture. Great figure. Love the sculpt, love the paint, posability, everything. And really nice background there as well. I think it works pretty cool. Now I would have added mist and smoke around him to blend him a little bit more into his environment. This is very flat, like a figure in front of an image. But I still like it. But like I say, now I would have added some more effects just to make it a little bit more real, three-dimensional. Moving on. This is an old picture of the Hot Toys Captain America from the first Captain America movie. And this was actually brought to me or made possible from the YouTube 1/6 scale community back in the day. Back when, gosh, I don't know, I can't remember who exactly was involved. I know it was Monkey215, Seb, that's Sebastian in France, and a whole bunch of other dudes, man. But it was a while ago. But they came together and they were like, we want to see you, work with this figure or take pictures of this figure. So they made it happen, and I got to work and took those pictures, and this is one of them. This is he's not exactly running away from an explosion here. I think it's more like he's about to hit you, from our perspective, we're the enemy, and he's about to clunk us in the face with the shield, I think, is what's actually going to impact our mush rather than his fist. So that's going to be painful. But I think this was a great figure, man. Its posability was a bit limited because the suit was really tough, and you could move the arms a fair bit, but yeah, as far as the waist turn, it's not amazing, but the lightness is really good. I love the suit because it's well, I say modern, but obviously it's set back in the World War, so it just kind of met expectations on both sides of that. I think it managed to be practical for where it was being used and the era it was being used, but also look cool for around a time where we'd had the Dark Knight trilogy starting to kick off, and I think it pleased a lot of people. I like the film as well. I've seen it again a few times over the years, and I always enjoy it. I always keep watching it, and yeah, I think the first Captain America movie is really good, and the second one, Winter Soldier, damn, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. And then it was Civil War. So yeah, Captain America, man, he's on a good run when it comes to his films. And Chris Evans, he's great. He seems like a cool guy too, full of practical jokes and all that stuff. He'd be fun. But yeah, man, a cool picture here. Yeah, not many explosion pictures coming up, so this is one of the few. But I really like it. Let me know what you think. All right, here we are with a return to what you saw in a previous volume, where I took the 1/6 scale original Predator to Hounslow Heath and went deep into the depths of this particular heath, where it does get a bit jungly, quite overgrown and wild. And you saw the picture before of the Predator up in the tree. I believe this is the same tree and the same, the same session there. He was sitting in the tree. I moved his arm down, got rid of the skull that he was holding up, and I just wanted to look like he was just taking a moment to just whatever he was doing. He just not quite. He's always on the hunt, and he's got his targets, but right now he's just looking up. He's on Earth. Maybe it's his first time here. He's just taking it in. And I like this. Look, you can see the shoulder cannons completely at ease. And he's just there, man. He's just there. I like this one. In fact, I haven't seen this in a long, long time, many years. This is one of the ones that I stumbled upon in my folder recently on many hard drives. And I was like, oh, man, that picture. Got to put that in the video. And I'm glad I found it. So let me know what you think of this one. I really like this one. It looks cool. But that's the Hot Toys original Predator 1/6 scale figure. Like I've said before, I hope they do update this guy and bring out a new version soon. Definitely want that into the collection for sure. Anyway, moving on. Now, I really like this one of the 1/6 scale Hot Toys diecast RoboCop figure. This was a moment in the movie that I paused, and it's right from the moment where those two guys grab the lady and they are attacking her, and RoboCop shows up and shoots the guy in the nuts. Amazing scene. And yeah, just paused it. I think right before they grab her. I think that's the shot. But if you watch the film, you'll see this moment. You'll be like, oh, that's where he got the screenshot from. So pause the film and put the figure in front. Oh, the great thing about shooting RoboCop is because he's so reflective, but he's not like an endoskeleton where it's like a mirror, where it's an absolute nightmare to shoot that because you can see yourself in the Terminator's body all the time. With RoboCop, it reflects the light beautifully, but it's a kind of like a misty, fogged kind of what's that type of glass I'm thinking of? Well, yeah, you can see the person's behind the glass, but it's really foggy and misty, or whatever the effect is. But yeah, RoboCop's great because he reflects the light, but he doesn't show you, your reflection in his armor. And the light catches off him so nicely. So I had a blue light, I had a red light, as you can see. I think obviously the blue light was on his right and the red light was on his left, pointing at his body. And I had a light coming from above, hitting his head and shoulders and sort of hitting the rest of his body as the light goes down. So the background didn't need lighting because it's a TV screen that's paused. So that's doing its work already. And obviously, you will get some light coming off the TV onto RoboCop, which will help, blend him into the background a bit more. But there's no effects on this. I think it's literally just the picture of the figure in front of the TV. And I might have put it into the GIMP program that I used again and slightly turned the color up or the saturation up a touch. I wouldn't be surprised if I hadn't done that because this image is quite vibrant, and I think to myself, was it really that vibrant to begin with? But yeah, I really don't remember using any effects on this or anything special. It's nice, man. I like this picture. That would be a nice one to take to the printer man and say, excuse me, sir, could you print this out onto a canvas, please? I'd like to display it in my display room. Anyway, there he is, the Hot Toys 1/6 scale diecast RoboCop figure from the original RoboCop movie. It's an amazing film and an amazing figure by Hot Toys. Oh man, it really is. Can't say enough good things, really. Does he pop up again in this video? Yes, he does. All right, see you in a little while, Robo. Here we have a really cool shot. This is of the 1/4 scale Hot Toys Dark Knight Rises Christian Bale Batman figure. And he's not sitting on the bike. This is, God, how did I do this? That's the Blu-ray paused, obviously at the moment in The Dark Knight Rises where Batman's being pursued by all the police. And obviously, I guess I've paused it at a moment where you've just got a bit of the Batpod bike showing. And the longer you stare at it, the longer the easier it'll be to see that he's not actually sitting on anything. But at first glance, it looks like Batman is sitting on the Batpod and the police are getting closer. He's holding his, that latest gadget that he had. I forget the name now. It's escaping me. But very little effects added to this one. The lighting is really subtle. It's just maybe one light coming in from obviously his left hand side in an upward position, sort of pointing down to cast the light across his face and some of his chest there. And you see a little bit of light is hitting off his belt too. So there's not a lot of light, but I wanted to make sure you could see his ears, and just make sure that you could. But I wanted him to blend into the night, but I didn't want to sort of, like you have to be able to see certain things. You need to be able to see his ears. You need to be able to see at least the side of his face. And but yeah, keep him blended into the night. So I really like this one. Again, contender for canvas action going on here. But yeah, man, incredible piece. That's a masterpiece by Hot Toys. And it leads into a bit of a rant, but that figure came with 3 heads, movable eyes, interchangeable mouth plates, everything you could possibly want from the Dark Knight Rises version and the Dark Knight version, because it came with all the Hong Kong jump sequence stuff as well. Backpack and the sonar eyes from the end of the Dark Knight, they really went all out. And then on the Batman Begins one, no moving eyes, not very well thought out articulation, but again, it is a big rubber suit, so there's only so much you can do there. But they really do seem to be cutting corners now, and I'm waiting for the 1/4 scale Heath Ledger Joker to arrive. And yeah, that's probably going to be, we'll see how the review goes, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, let's get back to this. It's a great picture. I really am proud of this one, and let me know your thoughts, and we'll move on to something else now. But I think it looks really real there, and just, yeah, I like it. Another very old picture taken around probably the same session as the T1000 picture you saw near the beginning. Really wanted to recreate this moment, and I have done many versions of this one. I remember doing this at least 3 separate times. I've settled on this one for this video. But again, I don't think I'll ever be 100% satisfied with how it looks. I mean, lighting wise, maybe things could be a bit different, but I think it looks pretty decent. That is the Hot Toys MMS 117 version of the T2 Arnie. That's my favorite look, when he has the all black, the black t-shirt underneath, the black leather jacket, the black pants, the black boots, the black glasses. Just absolutely badass, super iconic now, and recreating this scene, a really good scene in the film. Very well acted by Linda Hamilton. And Arnie as well, man. Whenever Arnie worked with James Cameron and obviously with John McTiernan, is that it, from Predator? I mean, I always loved Arnie's acting in Predator, especially. He really, really, and I think that was very real as well, because in the making of, they're all competing with each other, like always pumping iron and trying to be the biggest and the toughest and all that stuff. So I think Arnie really, really did a great job in Predator, and a lot of that was very real, I think. And T2 as well. Absolutely great performance by him. Always sad at the end, But yeah, this is a picture I like very much. It's one of my favorite pictures I've taken. And I got the pose kind of just right. I can't really compare it to the real thing right now, but in my head, it feels like I got it right. Getting the shotgun to kind of be turning the wrist right to that position where you get the shotgun where it needs to be. I think I got that right, but time would tell, I guess. Someone will let me know. But yeah, what do you think of this one? And I really like this head sculpt as well. Just this all over, figure. I think they really nailed it with this one. This was a fake leather outfit, whereas with the DX version that came later, that was real leather. But I found that too tight, really, especially around the arms, the forearms, and the wrist. It was very tight fitting, whereas this one I could really work with it, and it looked like real leather to me. But yeah, a really great piece. Came with some great accessories too. Interchangeable arm with the endoskeleton with the skin ripped off from that scene with Miles Dyson's house and stuff. Yeah, T2, absolute classic. So they really did some great figures around this, for this film, and around this time, Hot Toys were really, hungry, and they were bringing the goods, man. They were really bringing the grade A figures. But there he is, T2 Arnie, MMS 117 by Hot Toys. Let me know your thoughts on the pick. Here we have the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Dog Alien from Alien 3. And what's the name of the character? Is it Golic or something like that? The guy who releases the alien when they actually manage to get it held captive in one of the big rooms. And this was always in my head a moment where the alien first sort of gets free, and he just, before he leaps off into the darkness, he just kind of takes in his surroundings. I love the position of the tail, very aggressive. I think there's even a very slight blurring on the tail to make it look like it might be moving, but obviously it would be moving, but I didn't want it to look like it was going crazy. But this is just a little moment where he's just sort of taking it in, and he's about to sprint off down the hallway and replan his attack on the prisoners. But yeah, man, back when this figure, when I first got it, before it started to rot away and stuff like that, unfortunately, that's what happened to mine. But back when he was brand new, as you can see, it was absolutely awesome piece. I would definitely be keen to see Hot Toys take another stab at the dog alien. And NECA did a fantastic smaller dog alien, and I really wish they'd do that in 1/4 scale, because it would be incredible. But anyway, I really like this pick. I like the pose. It's got the background just right, got the lighting just right, I think. Maybe the lighting would actually be darker in reality, but then we wouldn't be able to see the damn thing. So I should have maybe had a light coming in from the alien's left, high up, kind of pointing down, just to get a bit of a glow around his dome, because there's no glow around the dome, and maybe there wouldn't be in this situation, but I would prefer, going back now, that's what I would have done. I probably didn't have enough lighting, because this, again, was many years ago, back when I just used a couple of little small hand lights for bicycles. So I may not have had enough lights to achieve that, but yeah, it's a cool pick regardless. I really like this one. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. And for this picture, I've actually chosen 2 images because I couldn't really settle on one. So it's kind of inspired by the moment in the Dark Knight where, you know, Harvey Dent is up on the roof. He triggers the bat signal that brings Batman. Commissioner Gordon comes up, realizes what Harvey's up to, and he's not too pleased with him. And they discuss eventually what they're going to do about Lau. And yeah, man, I think the Commissioner Gordon head sculpt was absolutely incredible, and still would be to this day. I sold that, you know, reasons, but, you know, I do miss that one, the head sculpt at least. This was a cool setup as well. I think I was using the Scarecrow suit, but with a different tie, and probably a different shirt. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, man. It was a long time ago. But yeah, the first picture is a little bit overlit, I think. Should be a little bit darker, and it would make them look a little bit more real. Harvey Dent's head sculpt kind of gives it away very quickly as an action figure rather than a real dude. But I think you can get away with it with Commissioner Gordon if you just made the lighting a bit darker. But moving on to the other image, that is darker, and Harvey Dent's face is more in the shadows, and I think that's a lot more convincing, although the hair, sculpted hair, would probably give it away pretty quickly, but definitely looks more real than the last one. Commissioner Gordon kind of respectfully kind of just listening to Batman lay down the law. Batman has his custom velvet cape, and I would have made that one myself back in the day, using the Takara 1/6 scale Batman Begins cape as a stencil to cut around the velvet and get the shape right. And that's how I was doing them. Used to send a few custom capes out to people, like I think Moggy215 and Clipper King maybe got one. I'm not sure, but there's a few people out there got custom capes. It was fun to do, but definitely wasn't something I was able to keep doing because velvet's not cheap. So yeah, Gordon just looks amazing. Harvey Dent looks pretty good too. That Harvey Dent figure was pretty cool. He came with obviously 2 head sculpts, so you'd have one pre-burning and the other one with half his face very much damaged. But yeah, man, that's a cool picture. I like it. This one we're looking at here is one a contender for canvas printing for sure. Let me know your thoughts. How'd you feel about this one? I like it very much. It's an old picture, man. I took this many years ago, definitely like 6 years ago, 7 maybe, but something like that. And here we have a cool image of the Hot Toys 1/4 scale T800 endoskeleton from Terminator, the original film. And obviously the moment where he's stepping out from the flames, fully revealed for what he really is. An incredibly well designed killing machine. Oh man. Straight out of James Cameron's Nightmare and made reality by the incredible Stan Winston and his team at the time. And Hot Toys, man, this his eyes are really lit up. You know, the figure, his eyes light up. The jaw opens and closes. Every part of him moves the way the real thing would have. Maybe even more than the real thing actually did. Who knows? But this could definitely be used in a stop motion film as a real Terminator. It's it's incredible, honestly, man. Look at the picture. I don't know how exactly I got the kind of warm look, like he's actually surrounded by flames, because obviously it reflects everything around it. So the image that's on the TV behind him is obviously reflecting onto the back of him, and I guess the sides of his arms as well. So that's helping. Because you can see on his chest plate there, you still got the same kind of warm, kind of fiery reflection. So I'm not sure how I'm doing that. Maybe I might have put a mirror. I remember having a mirror at one point during this shoot, so I guess that would have been to try and get the flames to reflect onto his front as well. How clever is that? Yes. But yeah, an amazing figure from an amazing film that really inspired so many other filmmakers and just changed the game, really. When I saw Terminator, I was young, but I remember thinking, I've never seen anything like this before, and I need to see it again soon. This and RoboCop and the '89 Batman movie, and Gremlins, and so many other little films when I was a kid and stuff, just really fueled my imagination and stayed with me all through these years. Just that sense of excitement and wonder at these kind of things, man. These monsters of film, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's good. You got to hold on to that, you know. This is an amazing figure. Said it 3 times. Say it one more time. It's an amazing figure. I like the picture too. Picture ain't too bad. Ain't too bad at all. If I had done this picture now, I did this picture back when I first got the piece, when it was first released. I don't know how many that was. 4 years, something like that. 4 years, 5 years. If I had taken this picture now, I would have used some cool effects on the phone to make the flames appear closer as well, like have some flames in front as well as behind to make it more three-dimensional and make him look like he's in the middle of the flames rather than in front of them. But that's what I would do now. All right, cool pick. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. Here we have the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Berserker Predator figure from the third Predator movie, Predators, starring Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne and some other dudes. This was a pretty cool figure, man. I don't have it anymore. I did sell it. In fact, doing these videos makes me realize how many figures I have sold over the years. I mean, it has been almost 11 years now, and it's just the way it goes, guys. There's only so much money and there's only so much space. So if you want something new, sometimes you got to get rid of something old. And this was just, I did keep it for a good few years, and it just got to the point where I'd look at him on the shelf and think, maybe you can go now, kind of thing. But looking back on this picture, I really like this pick. It looks like he's just fired his cannon. Obviously, the light on his mask is still lit, but obviously the target is just off the screen. The bottom left-hand screen there, you can see just the after effect of the fire, that the impact of the blast, not the actual blast itself, but the kind of the second afterwards, where we're getting debris and little particles flying across the screen. It worked out good, and the lighting is a bit saturated, but I wanted it to be like that. Just when I had it full color, it was cool, especially in the left-hand corner there. It was really red, but I prefer it a bit more like this. I don't know why, but just, yeah. Let me know what you think of this image. I think this is a good one, and I completely forgot that I ever did this. Another picture that I found, I was like, did I do that? Okay, it's going in the video. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. Now, this is a funny one. This is just straight up jokes. This is Boba Fett giving a frozen in carbonite Han Solo the thumbs up just to be a dick. And there's not much else I can say. Really, the frozen in carbonite Solo and Boba Fett, I believe, were Nick's. Because I sure as hell have never owned a Boba Fett. I know that. It's been a long time, but obviously, yeah, they are Nick's. So thank you to Nick for lending me the figures to do all the videos that I did with them. Loads of them. In fact, one of my favorite showcase videos I ever have done to date is still the Yoda video, where he's on his home planet. I mean, I really went to town with that. In fact, that could be a whole photo commentary video in of itself, because I've never done anything to that level before. That was a big one. Anyway, yeah, it's just the frozen Han Solo carbonite situation. He's just propped up against something to hold him up and put Boba Fett in the pose. He's just kind of, hey, throwing up the thumbs up there, and the TV in the background. I remember it was really difficult trying to find a moment in The Empire Strikes Back where you get a clear view of that scene. I think there's a moment when Luke first rises up into the environment and you get a nice wide shot. And I think I basically maybe took a screen grab of that and then painted Luke out, and just used kind of blue kind of mist and to cover up where, cover where he was standing. So that came in handy for the recreation of the Luke fight with Vader, which I did. That's another video you got to check out if you haven't seen it. That's an epic one. Real 1/6 scale lightsabers, Luke and Vader, the fight from Empire, recreated with Hot Toys figures and Sideshow figures. Check that one out on the channel. But yeah, I just had to include this picture, and I think this is definitely a contender for canvas-worthy printing because it's just funny. Yeah, what do you think of this one, guys? Moving on. Now here we have a very old picture again of the Hot Toys DX Jack Nicholson Joker from the '89 Batman film. And a very old picture. It's just, I don't remember much about this, but I know that it sure as hell worked. I mean, I don't have much light on his hair, so that's a bit of a shame. Definitely only using one light here. A moment from the film paused on the background TV, and just the figure just, posed just the right way, the eyes just in the right position, the head just at the right kind of turn and tilting down. Sinister, evil, unpredictable Jack. Just he really did scare me as an 8-year-old kid in the cinema, or 8 or 9. I think I was 8 by the time I saw this. And I really was kind of freaked out by Jack Nicholson. Not terrified or anything, but definitely uncomfortable. Whenever he was on screen, just a sense of you don't really know what he's going to do to someone or when he's going to do it. I mean, that was made clear with the hand buzzer scene where he buzzes the guy to death and when he shoots Bob randomly. Pretty sick, twisted dude, man. So yeah, I mean, I really like this picture. I keep repeating myself, but this is another canvas-worthy picture, I think. But I'd love to find a way to go back. I could take this picture again. I could find that moment in the movie, pause it, do the lighting better, and light the hair a little bit. I want to see a bit more of the green hair, just a touch, just enough to remind you that it's there. You can see a tiny bit at the front, but it's still very dark. I don't know how it's looking on your screen. In fact, I hope you guys aren't watching this on a phone. You need to be watching these on a big screen TV. Watch it on your PlayStation or your Xbox. Do me that favor. But yeah, the light, the way it's hitting his face is just right. It's not overdoing it. You can still make out all the details of his skin, the wrinkles, all the little, just the detail that Hot Toys went to. It's a figure, man. That isn't really Jack Nicholson. You forget when you look at it long enough. You just concentrate on it. You think, hang on a minute. That's technically a toy, an expensive toy, but still got the figure, man. I ain't selling this. Behave yourself. I mean, that's a classic right there. That's Jack Nicholson, man. That's Jack. Oh man, what do you think of this picture? Let me know your thoughts. But I like it. I think it's good. Shouldn't say that about my own stuff. That's kind of, whatever. I like it. Here we have the I Mini Me Wall Street Killer making a return. And this time, this has always been one of my favorite pictures. I ain't going to go into too much of what I was thinking when I took this. I'll let you come up with your own ideas. The blood spray on the wall behind him is not a result of anything that's happening right now. That was just a backdrop that I used for a lot of different pictures for the video this is from. I always like this one, man. He's obviously pointing one finger into his mouth, but kind of in a position that would suggest something a bit darker. And the other hand is obviously pointing to his rear posterior. So yeah, read into it what you will and make up your own mind. But I just like it, man. Makes you think about either funny stuff or dark stuff. And at the background, blending in with some of the blood spray that's on that particular head sculpt as well. That was an amazing piece, man. I didn't obviously get to keep it. That was just a borrow situation, so that I could do the videos. But yeah, man, I really took it to the next level with this one. I've been a big fan of the American Psycho movie for a long time, and I even remember saying to a friend who I saw American Psycho with in the cinema, turning to him right towards the end where it's just on his face, zooming in slowly, and I remember saying he'd be a good Bruce Wayne. And then a few years later, it turned out he was going to be Batman, and that's now my favorite Batman movie ever, Batman Begins. But yeah, man, an amazing figure. I've seen copies of this head sculpt. They're never quite as good as the real thing, obviously. But really, really awesome work by I Mini Me? That's how you say it. Great raincoat, whatever you want to call that thing. I mean, the suit underneath, it's all there, all the detail. You check out the video this is from for that. It's definitely worth checking out. For the video, the showcase video, you actually have Christian Bale talking about Patrick Bateman and the role he played. throughout the whole video. So you got all these visuals that I've done with the figure, with backgrounds from the film and all that kind of stuff, but with actually Christian Bale talking about the movie. So it's well worth checking out. I even enjoy watching that one myself from time to time just to listen to him talk, because it's a really good interview. But yeah, this picture is pretty good. I think it's funny, dark, whatever you want to call it, just like the movie. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. And here we have the Hot Toys 1/6 scale City Hunter Predator from Predator 2 in the slaughterhouse scene. This film gets a bit of flack from people, man. Predator 2's badass. Behave yourself. It's got some awesome scenes, man. It's really satisfying for me as a Predator fan. You get some amazing moments in this movie, and I love the City Hunter design. Oh man, Bill Paxton, rest in peace. Gary Busey, Danny Glover, so many cool people in this movie. I really love it. I mean, I love the first one more, but then it would be Predator 2 at second place for absolute damn sure. But I really got lucky with this picture. Maybe lucky, I don't know. It's just a blue light, you know. The scene's blue. I paused the movie. I put the Predator in front of the screen. I used a blue light and nothing else. Pointed it at the Predator from above at an angle, and took the picture. And the pose, he's turning at the waist, so the legs would be more facing where his left arm is. Looking at the picture now, I didn't bother to color over the joint that you can see on his left arm, the elbow, the inner elbow. I would have got rid of that now if I had have remembered, but it doesn't really hurt the image. I think if I was going to get this printed out on a canvas, I would go back and just darken out the joint that you can see on his elbow there. And maybe add a little bit of mist, just a bit of mist. But I don't think much else needs doing to this. Maybe some kind of particles floating around him, maybe. There's definitely more things I can do now thanks to the apps we have on our phones. It's really handy. I love this image, and I think it was Whit Reese again. Was very nice and said lovely things about this picture to me, or on Instagram or something. But really appreciated that. But yeah, really like this image. I think the way he's kind of suddenly turning. This is not a slow turn. This is a fast turn. That's why I got the dreads on his right hand side, kind of in the position that they are, because they're kind of just knocking off the shoulder armor there as he turns his head suddenly because he's heard something or seen something or whatever. But I really like this one. Very simple lighting, but it worked. Just a blue light because the background he was standing against was blue, so it made sense to use a blue light, and it worked out just fine. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. Here we have the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Ellen Ripley from Alien. I really like this one. However, I maybe should have gone in and made the joint between the head and the neck, because it's a separate piece. Should have made that a little bit more hidden, or found a way to just settle that down a bit, the line that you can see, or obviously solve that just by pointing her head in a more kind of downward position. But for whatever reason, when I originally took this picture some time ago, when I first got the figure, I wanted her looking up for this one, or slightly looking up anyway. But you notice how I've made the background, that long corridor, I've made it way more sort of blurred and blurry in the distance, just to create a sense of distance and how long that corridor is. You notice that to her right, the wall is quite clear, just like she is, and like it would be. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe this would have been better if I hadn't have messed around with the filters on the phone, because the blacks were a lot more black than this originally. Whatever filter I've used was kind of like a 70s kind of bit of a washed out kind of look to it, which I really liked when I first saw it. I was like, oh, that's the one. But I don't know, can't really compare it to anything right now. But anyway, let me know what you think of this one. An amazing figure, and just a moment from the movie. I'm sure you're well familiar with which moment this is. I think it's towards no, actually not the beginning. It's there's quite a few panning shots in the movie where they just let you breathe and take in the environment and get your breath back, which is just, I love the film. My favorite Alien movie. So let me know your thoughts on this one. Moving on. Back to the Hot Toys Terminator 1 T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger figure. This picture is just because it illustrates just how incredible these figures are. Nothing custom wise has been done to this head sculpt. That is just lighting, and I think it looks so amazing. I mean, the only thing that would give that away is the hair, like the sculpted hair, but even that looks good. But look at the blood and the tears in the flesh, the endoskull underneath. It's incredible work. And the lighting, it's bringing out all the scuffs and the dirt on his skin, which you don't really notice it that much when you're just holding it in your hand in the daylight. But under these conditions, I don't know, just some basic little light I was holding in my hand with one hand. I had the camera I was using at the time, which was probably just a Cybershot Sony Cybershot, very bog standard camera, like 18 megapixel tops. Nothing like a DSLR with a big lens or anything professional like that. I was always using Sony Cybershot cameras for a good few years before the phone started to really get up there in the pixel counts, and now I just use those. I like light, convenient tools to work with rather than big, heavy, super expensive, terrified to even touch it kind of equipment. I don't know. But yeah, I think this picture is really, it's, yeah, I like this one, man. Let me know your thoughts on this, but just take a moment to really look at his eyes, the human eye, the endoskull eye, the way, it's amazing work, man. It's an amazing figure, background again, just the moment from the movie at the end where the flames just paused, plonk the figure in front of the TV, get the lighting looking how I want it. Usually turn down the kind of brightness on the camera a lot. Because if you don't, when you take a picture in front of the TV, see that flame, the bright flame behind him? If you don't turn down the brightness on your camera, then that flame is just going to be super white. It's just not going to look like a real flame. So turn the brightness way down and use the torch that you're holding, the light that you're holding. Use that to get the subject to be lit the way you want it to be. It's way easier to work with a picture that's too dark, in my experience, than it is to work with a picture that was too bright to begin with, like really washed out to begin with. You can't really fix that. But if a picture's a bit too dark, you can turn it up a bit, turn up the brightness. You mess around with it and get it to a point you want it to. But man, I pat myself literally on the back for this one. Did a good job here. Let me know your thoughts. It's a good pick right there. Contender indeed for canvas printing and wall display. Hot Toys 1/6 scale Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi films. Tobey Maguire playing Spider-Man. And the Hot Toys figure was definitely serving me well. Very good with articulation, a lot of fun to pose. And I was just busy with this thing for a good long while, man. Just making videos and taking pictures. This one was taken way after all of those sessions ever happened. This is like a revisit picture. I remember going back and just taking the figure off the shelf and thinking, let me see if I can get some new ideas for posters out of Spidey. And with this one, I remember it was very much where I thought about how he was losing his abilities and he went to fire webs in the sky and he couldn't, and how scary that would have been, to be right at the top arc of your swing and you got to throw another web line and nothing's happening. You think, oh, So this is kind of conveying that sense of, because he's literally about to drop. Like, this is the moment I've tried to capture here, is at the top of the arc. He's just gone up. And now that moment of, oh, shit, no, he's about to drop down again. So I like the colors on this. I was trying to go for the kind of colors that I remember when I would see the pictures that Peter Parker would take in the movie and kind of give to Jameson. That same kind of effect on the image, just from memory. I didn't, go to too much trouble there, but I just tried to get it to look like how I remember they looked in the movie. Let me know if I managed to achieve that, in your opinion. But yeah, great fun. Many pictures have been taken with this figure. They're all on the channel. All those videos, you'd have to go back a fair bit to find them because that was many years ago, but they're still there and they're still worth checking out. But I still got this figure, man. Still got it, and he still looks pretty good. So let me know what you think of this one. Back to Ripley again, because I remembered, I think it was Scott. God, I hope it was, because I haven't gone back and double checked, but I think it was Scott left a comment saying, please include a picture of Ripley with the alien, which I'd obviously shown in the past. And so this one's for you, Scott. And if I've got that wrong, let me know in the comments and I'll correct it in volume 4. But I think that's right. Anyway, here is the Hot Toys Ellen Ripley from Alien again, which we just saw. And the alien big chap figure behind her. I love the way I managed to get him to look. It's really, there's a bit of a, it's terrifying, but it's also kind of cheeky. The way the alien looks, he's like, ha ha, I'm sneaking up behind you. You can almost imagine him tiptoeing in that kind of way, like sneaking up behind you. And Jonesy the cat is down at the bottom of the image. I added the mist and the smoke very recently today, actually. That was not originally in the image. But yeah, the lighting on this, you've got a light from above, and the red bicycle light is obviously just off screen, pointing at Ripley's face and casting a bit up onto the big chap's face. But I really like this one, man. This looking at Ripley's arm, is that the seam of her arm that you can see? Her left arm. There's like a white line running down her arm, and I've only just noticed that now. That's a shame. I could fix that if I had known about it, but I think that's literally the seam on the arm of the figure itself. But still, man, I'm still happy with the picture, even though I just noticed that. I love, just look at the detail, little things like the way the cat carry case is open, so you can see some of the white kind of squared interior there. Just little details. I love the position and the posture of Jonesy the cat, very much in that defensive kind of about to go, you know. And I've got Ripley, if you notice her other hand, she's beckoning Jonesy. She doesn't realize the alien is behind her, obviously. It's a cool picture, man. The more I'm looking at it, it's telling a story. Like I said, the position and the pose of the alien is quite comical, but still terrifying. The big sneer. I did glue the mouth shut on my big chap alien because I wanted his teeth to be gnashed together. I prefer that with him, the big chap. As opposed to that slightly dumb look he has when his mouth is slightly open. It's just, yeah, definitely for me was just a case of get a tiny bit of super glue on the back teeth and just push the mouth together. It's really easy to undo and barely noticeable anyway. So, but it does have a cool effect. You see his tail is kind of curling around as well in that playful kind of way when he gets all happy about something. So I really like this one. Let me know your thoughts on it. Very, very cool little pick here, I think. Just thought I'd chuck this one in. A pretty cool pose. Again, completely stock figure here from Hot Toys. This is the Dark Knight Rises Selina Kyle. And I remember here, it was a bit tricky trying to get rid of the joint where the head joins onto the neck. So there would have been a big, obvious joint there. So I had to use the smudging tool again to kind of smudge her skin over the joint and create it, you know, try and get it to look as natural as possible, get the jawline to look right. I literally had to kind of, yeah, it was tricky. It was a long time ago I took this picture, just literally on a big black sheet of material. She's also, it's one big piece of material that's on the ground and then raises up onto the backdrop as well, so it's all one piece. Just very simple lighting, just one light coming from above, I guess. It was a long time ago, but great posability with this piece, and that's just what I was trying to illustrate here. And yeah, had to Photoshop out the joint on the neck, but that's about it. Just thought I'd chuck it in because I think it's a good picture. What do you think? You think it sucks? Yeah, probably sucks. I think it's good. Now here we have a very cool shot of the 89 Hot Toys DX Batman figure. Michael Keaton, obviously, in the suit. Really cool. Just the movie paused again, grabbed a screenshot, use it on the TV in the background. That's the stock Hot Toys cape, believe it or not. It's so dark that you can't really see how I've managed to get it to look that nice and flush to the body. Literally just kind of folded it in between his legs and just tucked it in to get it to just stay put. And just a light coming from above, but the light is more behind him than in front of him or directly above him. It's definitely coming from more behind him. It's because I just wanted the top of the cowl and the shoulders and a little bit of the bat symbol to catch the light. You can see a little bit of the mouth plate. You can definitely see the sort of protruding brow of the cowl. The ears could be lit better, but you can still see them. You don't really have to search too much to see them. You can see his ears. Smoke added very recently on the phone. I would have done this back in the day with real smoke because that was the only way to do it, really. But now obviously there's much easier ways and better ways to do it. So I really like this one. Just soak that in for a minute. Just soak it up. Incredible figure. I mean, the posability was never that great to begin with, but it's definitely declined over the years, and now that's basically, as you see him now, is pretty much your only real option. I mean, you can obviously get custom capes and have it flowing over his shoulders at the back to reveal the suit, which I really like, this original 89 suit, the more human look, as opposed to what they went with the redesign for 92's Batman Returns, which are still cool but very different. So but they still kept that cool shape. They streamlined it, the cowl in Batman Returns, but it's still quite similar for those who really like the look from 89. I don't think they changed enough to upset people, but yeah, I really like this pic. Let me know your thoughts. This is an old picture, guys. I took this back when I first got the figure. Shout out to Denny in Australia, because he's the one that made this happen. He's the one that sent along this Batman at a time when I couldn't get it myself, and he knew that I was a Batman fan. He got in touch and said, "Hey man, guess what? I'm sending you something special." I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "I'm not telling you." And then I said, the next day, "Tell me what it is." And he's like, "No, I'm not telling you." I was like, "Okay." So the next day I was like, "Please." And he told me, and I couldn't believe it, man. And I had so much fun photographing this thing, and I still do. Still have him, obviously, in the collection. Absolute beastly presence, and featured recently in the top 10. So yeah, man. There he is, the Hot Toys 1989 Michael Keaton Batman DX figure. With the stock cape, remember, that's the stock cape right there. That's a completely stock figure, no customization at the time. That's just how he was right out of the box, with a little bit of posing magic from your Uncle Dean. That sounds kind of creepy. You can't be an uncle anymore. You just can't. You can't say uncle. Just in the modern day we live in. Anyway, that's a whole other video. I'm not a comedian. That's more of a Bill Burr thing to talk about. Who watches Bill Burr? Bill Burr's good. He's Burr. The Burr dog. And this is the return that I promised you of the Hot Toys 1/6 scale diecast Robocop figure. And this is when he goes to pay, was it Dick Jones a visit? Is that the guy? I forget. It's been a while. But yeah, he was it Directive 4 or Protocol something, the one that won't let him arrest Dick Jones, and he's fighting against it, but he just, he can't even draw his gun on him, let alone arrest him and take him in. But I guess this is right before, well, I have obviously not changed over the parts to make him look battle damaged, so this is before Ed 209, really puts him through the mill. But I just really like this. I always imagine this as him walking forward, struggling, fighting against that directive that's stopping him from doing what he wants to do. He's just struggling here. He's trying to hold on, and yeah, man, you feel for Robo. You feel for Murphy. The lighting on this was, like I said before, the Robocop figure is just a dream to work with when it comes to lighting, because the light bounces off him beautifully, but doesn't act like a mirror and show everything that's in front of him. So, don't know where that yellow light is coming from that's bouncing off the front of his helmet there and his chest as well. I don't have a yellow light, so that was coming from somewhere else. And it's not coming from the image on the TV, so... Or maybe it is. Maybe there's something yellow off screen on the image that I'm forgetting about. But anyway, there's yellow light there for some reason, but couldn't tell you where that came from. Again, took these pictures a long time ago. Added the smoke at the time of taking the picture, way back before there was cool smoke effects for me to use. It's not real smoke. It's literally on the GIMP program that I use, the free one. That's literally just like using the paintbrush, getting some white and just doing some white dots, and then getting the smudging tool and then smudging around the white round and round and round and round until it starts to look like white smoke instead. So that was the long, hard way of doing it, which is the way I did everything back then. But, it was more work, but it felt very rewarding when you got to the end of the image and you looked at it and thought, wow, I've created that. And it's almost good enough to be printed out and put on display. I mean, I showed this picture to people back in the day, and, like family members who didn't know about Hot Toys and stuff. I was like, hey, look at this picture of Robocop. And they're like, oh, cool. And I was like, that's an action figure. Like, no, it's not. Don't shut up. But no, it is. It's an action figure. It's crazy. Yeah, man. I used to love tricking people with stuff like that. But yeah, this is one of my favorite images. I took a Robocop where he's struggling and fighting against the directive that's imprinted in his system that won't let him arrest Dick Jones or any member of OCP or whatever it was. One of the best films of the 80s, man. No doubt about it. Maybe the best film of the 80s. Certainly the one that disturbed me the most as a kid. You know about that story already, but there it is. Soak that one in for a few seconds. I'll just let you digest. Yep. Every finger moves. It's all articulated on this figure. Every digit just moves like a human hand. Interchangeable mouth plates, different expressions, a battle damaged option for the helmet so you can switch it out and have the bullet holes and the eye poking through the visor. Oh, amazing. The chest plate switches out to the battle damaged one with all the inner workings showing through the holes and stuff. Just amazing, man. Amazing figure. Very glad to have this one. Absolute keeper. No doubt about it. Let me know what you think of the image that you are currently viewing. Moving on. Again, the NECA alien, the big chap, the 1/4 scale alien. Not the most recent one, the one before that from a few years ago. Really, really looked good when I did this photo session, and the lighting it's nice and fun with an alien in this particular setting because you don't need much light. You definitely don't want to overlight it, but the great detail on the sculpt that NECA did, and the great work on the dome. The teeth look really kind of chrome and good, movie accurate inner jaw with a kind of white color to it. Just he's reaching out again. A lot of pictures of big chap aliens reaching out in this series of videos, I think, but I used to like doing that. Added this kind of weird squarey kind of blue effect around the edges just today. Maybe shouldn't have done that. I don't know. I also added the alien text there as well. I don't know. Just felt like the thing to do. But regardless of all that, I didn't really like this image. I think it looks really real. I think the alien looks very real in this one. To think that, the figures by NECA, they don't cost much. It's a big, massive alien figure, 1/4 scale, but it was only like at the time, I can't remember, I no more than £100 compared to 1/4 scale high-end figures, which are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. This one, great articulation, incredible sculpt, great paintwork, and very real looking, as you can see. So I wanted to include this image. I think it's really terrifying. It's not the best lit. You can't even see his other arm. But I just like, it's more just the way the face looks, the mouth, the dome, the shoulder. I just like the way it looks and the position of everything and the distance of everything. I've always found this picture quite scary. So mission accomplished with that one. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. The Jared Leto 1/6 scale Joker by Hot Toys, the tuxedo version, and the Hot Toys Dawn of Justice, that's BVS regular suit Batman by Hot Toys. 1/6 scale figures, absolute masterpieces, regardless of how you feel about the films. I mean, the films are pretty ropey, especially the Suicide Squad. I actually really like Dawn of Justice, obviously the full version of the movie, but Justice League and whatever else, not so much, but great figures though. I mean, absolutely. And this is a cool moment to kind of try and take a different spin on the Dark Knight classic scene between Heath Ledger and Christian Bale's characters. And just changing it up a little bit, obviously with the tuxedo. I thought, okay, well, let's get some cards on the table, and Joker is settling in for the night. But I don't think he's aware that behind him lurks the hulking behemoth. That is the Ben Affleck Batman from Dawn of Justice. Yeah, man, that figure, that was, I believe I did do the beef mod to the Batman figure by the time I took this picture. He certainly has the Unreal Customs cape on, that's for sure, because you can see how lovely that's just hanging over his shoulders. Real kind of leathery material, great weight to it, very much like the one in the movie. That's the way to go. And there is, yeah, man, the Jared Leto Joker figure. I mean, he's apparently coming back in the Birds of Prey film, so maybe he'll get a better shot. I've got no problem with seeing him have one more try, and I'm pretty sure he gave it his all the first time. It's just obviously it's known all over the world now that in the comic book sort of fan world that a lot of what he filmed never made it into the movie. I mean, he said himself, literally, they shot enough to make a Joker movie, and literally we only got a couple of minutes worth of him in Suicide Squad. But I mean, that whole film has major issues, and it's all down to the director, I guess. Or didn't they get someone to edit the movie, or a team to edit the movie who actually just specialized in making trailers or something? Like, because they did such a good job with the trailer for Suicide Squad, and to be fair, they did. The one with Bohemian Rhapsody as the trailer music. But I think if they got those guys to go ahead and re-edit the movie, and oh god, it was cringy. But as far as Jared Leto goes, I don't know, not a fan, but I am aware of his ability as an actor. He's very, he's high caliber stuff. I mean, I've seen Dallas Buyers Club and Requiem for a Dream and some other films that he's done, and I know the guy can act his ass off. So, one more try, sure. We got Joaquin Phoenix to look forward to anyway, so go for it, Jared. Let's see what you got. I want to see you in a room with Batman. We ain't seen that yet. Oh, but it's not going to be with Ben. Ugh. Poor old Ben Affleck. Anyway, that's another story. He did good. He did a good job, and he was a fine Batman. Fine Batman. Anyway, I like this picture, and I'm sure most of you guys do too. It's pretty good. Nice lighting on this one. Just the handy thing, like I mentioned before, the light, if you're coming from above with the light, it'll bounce off that desk there and bounce back up onto their face touch and just help with illuminating the eyes. But I didn't want it to be overlit. I wanted to keep this one moody. There's many versions of this picture in the folder, like literally 30 to 40 different pictures, all slightly different lighting angles, slightly different camera position, maybe slightly different position with the Joker's head and stuff. But I think this was pretty much the ultimate one. Really happy with this. Could definitely get that printed out and display it with pride on a canvas. Yeah, it's nice, man. I like the position of the Joker as well. He's in that proper kind of notice how his head's looking forward, but his right shoulder is coming forward and the other shoulder's going back. And that is a classic kind of I don't even know where it's from, but it's just instilled in my mind from growing up watching films like, I don't know, Casino or Goodfellas. Just how wise guys, the confident ones, the good looking sort of, they got their way with the world. They sort of got the world, was it like the world by the tail, whatever the hell the saying is. But he looks like he's confident. He's in the posture of a confident dealer dealing out the cards. Like the hand position, and I just like the way Batman's just leaning over him. Like at any minute, Batman's just going to blaps him on the side of the head. It's not going to be pretty. But yeah, let me know what you think of this one. It's, I can't stress enough, regardless of how the film's done, the Hot Toys Dawn of Justice figures and the Suicide Squad figures, and so far the Justice League figures have all been exceptional 1/6 scale pieces. Exceptional. I mean, the Joker is incredible. Even the purple coat one, wasn't keen on what he was wearing on the legs, so I changed that to the Arkham tracksuit pants. But the tattoo work and the muscle tones and the realism of the face sculpts, forget about it. Forget about it. Amazing. All right, moving on. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm sure you have some. Sweeney Todd by Hot Toys, and I had a lot of fun taking pictures of this one. Really did. This allowed me to get really dark. And I don't care how stupid this sounds. This is how seriously I took it when I was doing a photo session with a new figure. I used to, not kind of consciously, but maybe subconsciously, I kind of get myself into whatever kind of, if I was doing a session with a dark character, like a Sweeney Todd who basically just murders people, then I kind of had to get myself into a kind of, like an actor would. You kind of have to start thinking, okay, well, that's what I'm doing, and I want to achieve certain things when I do this video. I want to convey certain feelings. I want people to get a certain feeling when they watch it and see it. Unfortunately, this video doesn't exist on the channel anymore because I used copyright music and clips from the movie. I went all out. It was an amazing showcase video. It really was. It was one of my proudest moments, but unfortunately, inexperience at the time and how it all worked on YouTube with strikes and copyright stuff, I had to delete the video in the end. Damn shame. It really broke my heart. I actually deleted 183 videos once. I think I did it all in one night because I had 2 strikes. On YouTube, you get 3 strikes, you're out. Your channel gets shut down. I had 2 strikes, and at any moment I could have had a third because there was still a ton of videos on the channel that were potential strike candidates. So I suddenly realized, oh my God, there's about 183 videos on my channel that could potentially be a third strike. I got to get rid of them now. And one of them was this Sweeney Todd video, and it was a good 12-13 minute long showcase video, man. Really in-depth photography, like really creative stuff. I had him with people in the chair with a white sheet over them. It was pretty gory, and the music was really creepy and licensed. It was proper, what was the name of the band? Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum, I think that's the name of the track, the name of the band. Believe me, it's weird music. It's like crazy, scary carnival nightmare music. And I edited the whole video in time to the song, and the song was like a really offbeat, kind of heavy, scary, creepy, atmospheric track. And I spent so long. So anyway, yeah, had to delete the video. I might still have it on a hard drive somewhere, and I might try and re-upload it one day because I'm all clear now on YouTube as far as strikes goes. So I could always take a risk and try re-uploading it if I do find it and just see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, I got myself into a pretty dark place taking all of these pictures, but it worked. It allowed me to just do what needed to be done and get the pictures done for the video. Unfortunately, you're only going to see 2 right now, but yeah, they were really creepy. And he comes with the backdrop, incredible tailoring, great head sculpt, great chair, incredible set this was by Hot Toys. Again, they really went all out on this one. Really did. It's an amazing piece, and I'd still proudly own this now. I didn't own this. This was a borrow. Did I get this from? Uh, I think this was a situation where it belonged to, I want to say Luke. And then I think Luke sent it to the Clipper King to review. And then I think the Clipper King sent it on to me to showcase. I think that's what happened. I could be wrong. If someone's watching and they know better, then let me know in the comments and I'll correct that next time. But this was a borrow situation. I borrowed the figure for a good week and just worked the hell out of it, man. Just took so many pictures. There's literally 3 folders full. I must have taken like at least 1,000 pictures. I ain't joking. At least 1,000, because every time I find a good pose, I take at least 10 or 15 pictures of that pose with different lighting setups, just in case. And there was a lot of footage as well. A lot of, actually, that was the other thing that was cool. Every now and then I would do stuff where I'd kind of make it look like the figure was moving by using dark environments like this, but I'd use black gloves. And I would move his hand and his head and turn him and make him look like he was alive, but you couldn't see my fingers because I'd have them kind of just off screen, or if you did see them, or if they were on screen, it was too dark for you to see the black gloves just at the tip of his head and stuff. So yeah, this was a really creepy video and a really satisfying. It was the first time I went all out, and the first opportunity I had to do a really scary video. I mentioned before about when I was talking about the kind of more raunchy Catwoman pictures in the last video. I liked tackling different kind of genres of different genres. Like this was obviously trying to tackle horror and creeping people out, so I had to get myself in that kind of mind state and then do it, and I did it. And with the Catwoman more raunchy stuff, I had to think, okay, so that's now how my mindset has to be, and I have to, you know, as any artist does, I guess, for a project they're working on, depending on what kind of mood it is, funny, scary, action, romantic, whatever, then they kind of have to get their head into that space and in order to create it. So it's, yeah, probably spent like 5 minutes talking about this, but yeah, I really enjoyed the Sweeney Todd figure, and highly recommend that to anyone. Had a great time, and like I said, I'll try and re-upload that video if I can find it. If not, I still have quite a few of the pictures, so you know, there is a video on the channel in some form. There actually is, now that I think about it. There's about 3 Sweeney Todd. I did manage to get all the pictures on the channel eventually in other videos, so they are on there. They're just nowhere near as scary and as effective as they were in the original showcase video, which I spent days and days and days editing to some really freaky music. God, I wish I could remember what the name of that song was. Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum is the name of the band, and I think the song was called The Adversary. Okay, so you go off and you can Google that right, or YouTube it right now, so, and listen to the music and think, okay, so he made a video to that song. That would have been interesting to see. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to something else because I spent way too long talking about this. But yeah, Hot Toys Sweeney Todd figure by you know, obviously Johnny Depp's likeness there, very well captured. An amazing figure, man. Can't stress it enough. Everything about this figure was incredible. The Hot Toys alien Big Chap from the original Alien movie makes another appearance here, as does Jonesy the cat, with the addition of some alien eggs that I believe were made by NECA. They're not actually the right scale for 1/6 scale stuff, but they look good in the picture. You can see one of the face huggers is coming out of one of the eggs there. Jonesy the cat in the carry case, all locked up safe. But just like in the movie, when the alien goes really up close to Jonesy and just like investigating, and then actually swats the cage to the side, yeah, very kind of creepy moment. And again, why I wanted his mouth to be glued shut so that the teeth were gnashed together, like in that scene with Jonesy in the case. So yeah, just a cool picture. A light, like you can see there's a red light reflecting off his dome. So to his left, there is some kind of red light. It's a while ago since I took these. And then you've just got a light coming from above, I guess. Just a regular LED lamp, the one that you've seen on my desk recently. These pictures aren't too old, because this would have been when Ripley came out, obviously, because Jonesy came with Ripley. But yeah, I really like this picture. I like the fact that the alien hand is extended, and he's and Jonesy the cat is looking through the holes at the hand, getting closer. So you know, there's always a little something to look into here and read into what's actually happening. The alien is just having a little fun with Jonesy right now. But yeah, there it is. Got some little particle effects floating around in the air just to give it a little bit of life. Bit of kind of misty smoke on the ground that Jonesy is on. But yeah, I like that one. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. The Hot Toys Mark Hamill Joker. Well, the Joker from the Arkham games, voiced by Mark Hamill, I should say. Going to be doing Chucky's voice in the new movie. We've seen a new trailer recently, and we've heard Mark Hamill's voice as Chucky right at the end, where he says "Good night, Andy" or something. So he sounded quite similar to Brad Dourif, if you ask me. But anyway, I'm sure Mark Hamill's going to kill it, no pun intended, when it comes to Chucky's voice. Don't think I'll be rushing out to the cinema to see that one, but I'll certainly check it out on Blu-ray once it gets released. So look at this head sculpt. Oh man, again, the light source coming from above, but do you know what? I might have actually had a second light coming in from further away, pointing at his face to get the eyes to light up like that. But you can see the shadow, the kind of deep set eyes, how there is a bit of a shadow situation there. So definitely we've got light coming from above, and the second light I think is coming from underneath but far away from the side, but pointing up towards his face. So his big cheekbones are kind of keeping the kind of deep set eyes looking kind of shadowy. Those big ass handcuffs that come with him, I mean, he could easily get out of those. You can see how big the loops are. Anyway, an amazing figure. They probably designed a body from scratch for this one because he's so tall and skinny. I can't think of any other Hot Toys figure that they've used this body for, but I could be wrong. I think it's a specially designed body. But they nailed the head sculpt. Oh man, they really did. The hair looks fantastic. I love the little flick of hair like hanging down just at the front there. Really nice little touch. The work on the skin. Nice lighting on this one because, again, with a white clown face that's painted white, it's very easy to wash it out with light and miss all the detail, but you're still getting all those wrinkles and lines here. He just looks really real. Even though he's a video game character, he looks really real here. Hot Toys did a good job, and I didn't do too bad taking the picture, if I do say so myself. Yep, that's a nice one. That's a really nice one. There's many more. I did a lot of pictures on this session, and this is just the one that kind of caught my eye the most because of the way the eyes were lit up and just the way you could still see all the wrinkles of the face. And just check out the wrinkles around the brows there, his eyebrows at the edges as they raise up. And just the wrinkles and lines around there, and between his two eyebrows, the kind of furrowed brow. It's great because you can make this look really sinister and evil, but depending on how the light's hitting the face, he just looks kind of happy as well. But perfect figure. Wow. I was talking to Whit Reese, actually. He wants the Deathstroke figure that's just come out from Hot Toys from the Arkham games. Deathstroke looks awesome. And he said he was also wanting to pick this one up, and I said to him, you should probably put this one up your top of your priority list because it is a Joker figure, and it's always nice to have the Mark Hamill Joker represented in your collection. But Whit said that he's actually more of a Deathstroke fan, so in that case, that makes sense. Go ahead and get Deathstroke first, and then try and get this guy later. But to anyone on the fence about this one, get off the fence. If you can get it, and you won't be disappointed. I never have been. I love this piece. I'm looking at it right now on the shelf. It stands out, man. Masterpiece figure by Hot Toys. Standing ovation on this one. And a very old picture again with the Hot Toys 89 Batman, which I feel like has made quite a few appearances in this video, but rightly so. This is the classic stop moment, where he uses his little doohickey he's holding onto, his little device there, where he can voice control the Batmobile. And yeah, just the moment from the movie that I tried to recreate. This is a very old picture. Like I said, you can see he's still wearing the Hot Toys stock cape there, which, like I said, it served me well, and I was able to get it to do what I needed it to do. It looked nice and leathery, but obviously better custom capes came along a few years later. Very early in my photography days, so the background it could look better. Very old pic, so still learning here. Definitely should have illuminated his whole body a little bit more. Definitely should have had a light kind of coming in from his right hand side, more kind of illuminating the fins on his gauntlet, and just so we could see a little bit more. But I kind of you gotta remember, he is standing in the middle of the street at night, so you don't want to do it too much. I always try to, the main thing is I want it to look like a movie still. So, it is nighttime and he is in the street. So there is a light source coming from above, which is highlighting the bits we can see. We can see his hand. We can see he's holding the device. We can see his fingers. We can see the bat symbol. We can even see the kind of six-pack or whatever on his bat suit there. We can see the fins on his gauntlets. We can see his face, not very clearly, but, just enough there for you to make it all out. He looks serious and focused, and he's just about to say stop. So yeah, man, I like it. It's an old pick. It's not too bad, not too bad. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. Hot Toys Bane, and this is obviously, or maybe not so obviously, but I think it's pretty obvious, the moment where the lights go out and Bane is, well, it's not completely out. Obviously you can see a light in the background there, but obviously I can't have it pitch black because it wouldn't be very interesting for you to look at. But this is obviously inspired by the scene where the lights go out and Bane gives his little speech about the dark. So yeah, I think I've got it looking pretty good. An amazing figure. Not perfect. They used, and believe me, I got sick of hearing people review this and say that they designed, Hot Toys designed a body specifically for this Bane figure. They did not, sir. This was the body they used for the, what was the name of the character? From the third Predators movie, the character played by Lawrence Fishburne, who was a little bit crazy and dressed up like a predator in the film and stuff. That figure's body came before, that figure came up before Bane, and that was actually the body they used. They just added the scar on the back of the neck and repainted the body to match Tom Hardy's skin tone. So no, they did not use a newly designed body for Bane. They just used the old Lawrence Fishburne body from Predators. That's a fact, Jack. You can look it up. But still, regardless, you know, with the right kind of manipulation with lighting and posing and photoshopping out arm joints and stuff, which I don't think I actually did here because you couldn't really see the joint too much anyway because of the angle, the side profile kind of angle. But it was still a great figure, man. I did sell this, but I still have, even though I sold the Bane Hot Toys figure, I still have a Bane head. I still have Bane pants and boots. And what else? Something else. The only thing I don't have is the vest you can see him wearing and his big coat. But technically, I could put together a Bane from the prologue where he's wearing the long sleeve black top. I could still do that if I wanted to. But I don't. And to be honest, my Metal Gear Solid Snake custom figure from Snake Eater is wearing that the black long sleeve top, and Bane ain't getting it back because Snake is just more badass to me personally. But anyway, this picture, very low lighting. Probably I was just using like a bicycle light shining above his head, and I probably held the light really high up so that it was like a weak register on his body. And I would have, well, I guess this is maybe a screenshot from, maybe not necessarily that moment in the movie. It's a screen cap from obviously that scene, but yeah, it's a long time ago, guys. Again, the full video with this whole scene played out in pictures is on the channel. This is just one image from it. Again, you know, did the voice work for Bane and Batman throughout the whole video, so that was fun, man. Doing the visuals, directing it, recreating it, doing the voices, working with people to produce an original soundtrack for it that still sounded like the real music but wasn't. Yeah, man, it was an epic undertaking, but really worth it in the end. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this one. Bane by Hot Toys. Bane. And we're going to wrap up Volume 3 with Christopher Reeve's Superman, and a nice little picture. This looks like the kind of picture where you would take it by literally standing Superman on maybe a green surface and having him look right up, and then you just take a picture from above and then you kind of Photoshop in space behind him. That would be the easy way. I remember did this the same way I did all the Superman pictures. He's actually, you know, he's really in this position. He's flying towards us in front of a TV screen with this background behind him. And the, oh, this is actually bringing back memories. Now, same technique as before. A clear rod stand is holding him up with a black waist grabber is what he's actually balancing on. So I had to smudge away the waist grabber and just kind of blend it in with space. Literally just using the smudge tool to kind of pull the black space kind of over the waist grabber that's he's balancing on, and then I had to smudge over the clear rod stand like I have done previously. But then once I'd smudged it all, I had to go in and add the stars back with little white specks and just try and match it all up. So that whole section under his S going all the way down to the bottom of the image like a straight line would have been a clear rod that you could see, and I had to smudge the surrounding environment over the top of it and then repaint it to get it to look, you know, seamless. So that's how I did it, man. It was hard work, and it take ages, but I love the results. They were worth it. And I love this image. It's really nice and vibrant. I mess around with this one sometimes with different filters, but this is pretty much the original stock image, to be honest. I did post this image on Instagram today, and that version has a different filter, which I think actually looks a bit better. But this is the original image from years ago, just stock image, just put in the video to wrap things up for part 3. But you guys have been awesome with your response and your comments on these videos. This series of Hot Toys photography commentary videos keeps me busy while I'm waiting for that big ass Joker figure to come from Hot Toys, which should be pretty soon now, guys. We're getting right to the end of the Easter bank holiday weekend. I'm hoping that Joker's going to ship on Tuesday and get here soon after that. So you can look forward to all the goodies with the Hot Toys 1/4 scale Heath Ledger Dark Knight Joker figure coming soon. But like I said, man, you guys have been spectacular. Great interactions with you guys. Really love reading your comments. I will take a moment and try to reply to more of them. I do see them all. I love, you know, I would not love them. I do love them. There's a little heart thing there. I press the little heart thing. And I always make sure that I press that button that lets you know that I've seen your comment as well. So you know I've seen it. And I always pay attention. So thank you for the encouragement to do more of these. There's definitely more coming because there's a lot of pictures to show, man. There just is. There's a decade's worth of photography to show you. And there's a lot of pictures, man. I ain't joking. There really is. It's kind of daunting. Obviously, just like with the top 10 videos that I did, I got to a point around the point where I did the Batman top 10 where it felt, okay, if I do one more top 10, it's probably too many. And I probably already did too many, but you guys loved them anyway, so that kept me doing those. I will keep doing these until it feels like that's enough for now, which won't be too long now because we're already on volume 3, this one. And you will get a volume 4 very soon because I'm looking forward to showing more stuff. But volume 5 might be, or maybe we'll stop at volume 5 and then give it a while. And then I'll do another 5 later on down the line, maybe. But I think we'll stop at 5. We're on 3 now. Do another 2 over the next few days. Something for you guys to watch and enjoy in the meantime. And yeah, it gives me a chance to go back and revisit some pictures that I even forgot I took. I mean, at least a quarter of the pictures that are in this video, I forgot I even took these pictures. It's nice to go back through the folders and rediscover them and remember how I did them and what I was thinking when I did them. And yeah, different times in my life, different situations, all kinds of stuff, man. Brings back memories. Good stuff. All right, guys, leave your comments underneath. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're enjoying these videos. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on all the future content that's coming your way. Try to do videos every day so you get your content on this channel. Don't worry about it. I got you. Check me out on Instagram at dknight333. Facebook, you can support the channel on Patreon if you so desire, and that'll help me keep up with the demand for the new release reviews from Hot Toys so I can bring you that full, in-depth review goodness. Just helps me keep up to date with stuff on the channel, guys. So I appreciate every one of you guys who support the channel over on Patreon. There is a link under the video. You can click on that and it'll take you there. All right. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.